Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I really don't have a plan or know how this is going to go, but I suspect it's going to be a very long and chatty video. But today I wanted to basically go through all of my planners and journals from 2024 that I worked on and completed, and just kind of do honestly a show and tell. As far as the value and information in this video, it's really just for me to reflect on what I accomplished in my stationery and journaling hobby, and just to serve as an archive for myself. So I hope this is interesting for you to watch. If you're looking for something of a little more substance and information and value, then check out some of my other videos. But let's get into it. I really just kind of want to figure out what have been my favorite journal spreads from 2024. So let me go ahead and pull out some of my journals. I have a few inserts that are archived in here from travel from the beginning of the year. I have an unfinished travel insert in here. As you've seen a lot in recent videos, this is my 𝘍𝘪𝘠𝘬 Techo 2024 that I did complete. 2024 was also the first year that I started the 5-year 𝘍𝘪𝘠𝘬, so I successfully completed the first year of that. And then I have some ongoing project journals. So this one here is my California Patches TN that houses my stationery meetup insert. So anytime I have a stationery related event, maybe go meet up some friends at a coffee shop, I journal about that in here. And then I have a coffee journal. I was surprised to see that I pretty much started this insert at the beginning of 2024. And when I did my most recent entry, I realized how close I am to the end. So this is almost a journal that covers a full year. I think I started at end of 2023, and I will be finishing it probably fairly soon, before the first quarter of this year ends. So definitely want to go through those spreads and share with you. And not too much else in terms of travelers inserts. I do have another unfinished travel journal here. So that's about 2 unfinished inserts, I believe. And I'm just going to check quickly my TNs. I did actually complete a Happy Mail insert. I use Travelers Company inserts to put any ephemera from Happy Mail, and I was able to finish one. Let's see when, I think this was started end of 2020. Oh wow, exactly on the 1st of 2024, and I finished this a couple months ago. I want to say around October. Yeah, October. So didn't quite make it to the end of the year, but I did finish that. So that's something we can go through. In no particular order. Maybe I can try and start in order of the year. Let's first go to my unfinished inserts. I'm going to make some space for myself here. But in this blue TN is everything from my trip to Japan last January. I decided to use this specific insert that I picked up in Tokyo at the Nakameguro store. And I really tried to journal as the trip was going. However, my trip was extremely fast-paced. I was living in Italy. I flew to California for 2 days, LAX to Haneda Airport in Tokyo for 5 days, back to California for 1 night, and then back to Italy. And that was in the span of, I think, maybe like 8 days or so. So it was really jam-packed. I did leave post-it notes for myself to jot down what happened, but it being a year later, I read the notes and I don't know what more to add. Like, how can I possibly write a whole entry? So this is definitely on my to-do list to finish this year, especially before my next trip to Japan, which is hopefully and possibly in March. So I would love to have this finished before I start a new travel journal to Japan. So I do have all my ephemera here. It's just time and really the discipline to get into this. I have all of my photos. I really did as much of the work for myself as I could. It's just getting the time to sit down and work on it. I have receipts, I have ephemera, I have boarding passes. I think what is hindering me from actually doing it is that I want to take care of my primary journals first, that being my 𝘍𝘪𝘠𝘰 𝘠𝑗 and then my 5-year. And in 2024, it was really hard for me to do even just that bare minimum for myself. And so this just kind of kept pushing back later and later. I think I only worked on maybe 2 or 3 pages of this, barely into the first day of Japan. So again, this insert starts with about 2 or 3 days in California, and then I fly to Japan with family. Yeah, I haven't even gotten to the day that I fly to Japan in this insert, which is crazy. Because again, this trip was incredibly fast, and I tried to fit so much, like trying to see every family member, trying to see every one of my friends in California, because we were living in Italy at the time. The fact that I was able to even touch down in California and see family was already amazing. So I've got a lot to backlog in this, and it being exactly a year later, I don't know how I'm supposed to do that. I do have a video about trying to backlog and some tips on how to backlog when it's already been a significant amount of time. It's funny though, I thought I would have been finished by now with having done that video. But I guess now I have another opportunity to do another long backlog video, like kind of how to journal about something that has long gone and passed. So putting all of this back, it is really nice that every single thing I need for this journal is in here, and it all fits really nicely in this tin. So I would say that's probably the biggest thing that is kind of looming behind me here in 2025, because no one wants to bring more backlog into the new year. Another one that I haven't finished that I actually just started to chip away at a few days ago is my travel journal from Houston. I have yet to decorate the cover, but this should be a really quick and easy thing to finish. It was honestly like a 3 or 4 day trip. I have these first 2 panels as my first travel day. This section here is 1 day. That was 1 day, and it's, fairly easy. I opted for my biggest writing nib. This is like a broad nib, and it just helps to fill up the page a lot more. And then the back side here is literally just 2 more days. This whole section here, no, these 2 panels is 1 day. This middle 4 panels is 1 day. Actually, no. From here all the way to the end is 1 day. So I only have 2 more days to journal about. I feel like the things that we think are going to be really quick and easy and take up less time, we procrastinate on, because we're like, oh, that's not going to take too long. Let me do something else that I need to prioritize. Again, my main focus for 2024 was this. And so I kept pushing this back, and it's now been, this was in September, October, November, December. So 3 months, and honestly not that bad, because when I did this travel, I was 35 weeks pregnant, and then I gave birth, and it is hard to journal with a newborn. So I give myself a lot of grace with this one, but I do want to finish it because it is the easiest to finish. Whereas the Japan one, I keep thinking I'm pushing it back because I want to really have a lot more time to think about it, because so much time has passed. But honestly, I just need to sit down and paste everything down. If I have nothing to write, I have nothing to write, but at least I have something to flip through where all the photos and ephemera is organized. Okay, getting into some things that I actually did finish. It is not my first time showing my 𝘍𝘪𝘠𝘬 𝘚𝘵𝘯. I do plan on doing a complete full flip through of this, but I just want to note some special things about this. Some things I also tried to do and maybe didn't work out. So let's start from the beginning here, actually. I never intended to really fill up the monthly space here with pictures. What ended up happening is that sometimes I would print too many photos to fit on the daily page, and instead of just tossing them, I would put them in the monthly. So these were my overflow photos, and it was actually really nice because I got to collage different days onto a monthly view and just kind of see what happened that month. Like, this is Paris Disneyland, and then sightseeing in France, and then I went to Japan. So that's really neat to see. Not every month has a photo because, again, I only did this if I haven't had an overflow. I bought a PS5 for my husband for our anniversary. And then, yeah, nothing else on these pages. I had extra photos in May when we went to Capri. Here is me holding a lemon against my baby bump, and then going to the Colosseum in Rome. And I think that's it. Oh, here, some more extra photos. This was from a journal meetup. This was from meeting Amanda in Houston, Amanda Lay Plans. This was the morning that I thought my water broke and I was going into labor. Lo and behold, I did not give birth for another 15 days because it was not my water. Anyways, TMI there. Here is a cafe photo, just like I said again, extra photos. I didn't do a lot of tip-ins in this journal. I had a Mizutama tearaway calendar, and I really thought I was going to use this so much in this journal, but when I saw how much space it took, literally the entire writing space, I just knew that it wasn't going to work out, and I didn't want to bulk up and potentially damage the spine with tip-ins. But as you can see, this thing is holding up really well. I probably could have gotten away with more tip-ins, but it was a hard balance because I wanted to add things, and then I didn't want to have any regrets in the middle or end of the year because I did too much in the beginning. So now that I've got a full year under my belt, this is my first time doing this, I know that I can trust the binding of a 𝘍𝘪𝘠𝘬. But in the beginning, it started off to just be very minimal. I intended to do a photo a day, but I really didn't even do that since the beginning. I started off with multiple photos, and honestly, it just stayed that way. It never really bothered me that the photos were this small. If you've seen my 𝘚𝘵 𝘠𝑗𝑔𝑖, then you know that I actually have upgraded to an A5 size for 2025. And I do have like a few sample pages here to share, with it being the 5th of December. So I've been doing bigger photos, and it fills up the space so much that I feel like my writing space is still the same as what I was writing in the A6. But I do enjoy being able to have more negative space. I feel like it's just cleaner, but I can have a lot of fun still. I still wanted to add a lot more deco, washi, and pet tape to these pages. I just had brought my notebook to a coffee shop to write, and I didn't bring any deco. So anyways, that's something that I'm really proud of myself for doing in 2024, and just really decorating these memories. It has been a really fun pastime for my family now. My husband and my kids love going through this journal and just seeing all that we've done. Toddlers at the ages of 2 and 5 really love to see themselves, so they get really excited when they flip the page and see themselves. They're always pointing out, you know, that's me, and that's sister, that's brother. So it really is so cool to have a full year of documented photos, journals, and descriptions of what our life has been like in 2024. So one of my biggest accomplishments is right here. Another one that was off to a really rocky start, but accomplished in all, I'm having a journal avalanche there, is my 5-year. In my previous videos, I talked about how this was kind of a fail, that I intended to doodle in this 5-year journal. And why I thought doodling for 5 years when I don't even draw was a good idea, I don't know. I don't know why that came over me. I did not doodle for the entire year of 2024. I quit somewhere here in February, and sadly, I don't even, when I got back into this journal, it was the end of February, and by then I had no recollection of any of the things we had done then. So since March until the end of 2024, I started just writing a summary of things, and that's how I'm going to continue this journal from here on. But let's get into more exciting spreads to look at. Now I've got, let's do my finished ones before we get into my ongoing projects. Let's see, these ones here are actually from 2023. I guess I just have one travel insert from 2024, and the reason for that is because I moved from Italy to California, and within the US, it's not as easy to travel. When you're living in Europe, countries are just so close together, and travel is a lot more affordable. The first place we traveled to in 2024 was Paris. We went there for multiple reasons. We met my family from the US in Paris, so they vacationed California to Paris, and then we vacationed Italy to Paris, and we all met there. And it was really fun because the dates coincided with my daughter's birthday, and so we did Paris Disneyland for 2 of the days of our whole trip, and she was so happy to be with family from California and to be at one of the happiest places on earth. So here is one of my completed journals. I have not done a video flip through of this. I used to do video flip throughs of my completed journals. I just at one point in 2024 lost the motivation. Not really lost the motivation. I guess I would say I was just too tired. Too tired to be filming videos and flip throughs. I have so many inserts that I need to document. The reason I started this YouTube channel was to have a video archive of my inserts and journals, just in case something ever happened to them, like lost in a fire, lost to a flood, lost in general. The whole reason I wanted to film and document my pages was to have a video place for myself. And that is, one of the very first videos on my YouTube channel here is a travel journal flip through. So that is something that I hope to get back to. And it's interesting to see how much my journaling style has changed, but also how little it's changed. I feel like I still kind of do the same decoration style. I still do the same fonts. I really want to learn more typography for 2025, just to have different flair to my headers. And honestly, like this is just my regular cap handwriting, all caps. I would like to know different kinds of hand lettering so that I can have, again, different types of fonts. I really enjoyed doing these flip outs, these like business cards and things like that. So yeah, I really miss doing travel journals now that I'm looking through this, because the beginning of my traveler's company journey and journaling were a lot of travel journals. Just because we're talking about it now, I feel very inclined to show them and just kind of go through the past a little bit here. So here is a binder, storage binder, and I have several places here, 2022 and 2023. This is the insert of my very first travel journal. This one holds multiple trips. It was after this trip that I learned that I wanted to do an insert per vacation or per trip and not kind of like fill until it finished. But this is the insert that I made my very first YouTube video with, and that has really launched this YouTube channel of mine. So thank you so much for being here if you've been here since my very first video. But I have 3 trips here, it looks like. Prague, Germany, and Milan. Again, living in Italy, you're just so much closer to be able to travel. It's interesting to see this journal because all my photos here are from the Canon Ivy, and I personally can just tell with the quality, and I really, really am so thankful for my Canon Selfie 1500 now. And I think the quality has just improved so much in my journals. One thing that I did with some of the first videos that I put out, I learned that receipts will fade because they are using heat printing and not ink. So I actually went back through a lot of my pages here. I took the receipts out and then I photocopied them. So now all of these receipts in here are photocopies of the original receipts that were actually in my first video. And that is, you know, a good tidbit thing that I learned from people in the comments. So I'm really thankful for just being able to share my journey here on YouTube, on social media. See, this part here was part of a receipt and it's now since faded. But when I first put this on there, it was bold and fully inked. It's also interesting for me to see what kind of deco that I used in my first ever TN insert. And a lot of the stuff that I had before was very vintagey. And since then, since 2022, I hate vintage deco. Sorry, this is a huge tangent going down memory lane. Maybe I could do this fully in depth in a separate video. But yeah, this just, you know, takes me back to the beginning of my traveler's notebook experience and how much I miss being able to journal in traveler's notebooks. So this is really my only completed travel journal right now. I have the Houston one that is in the works, and then I have the Japan one that is also in the works. But I guess that's all I had. Actually, I have my San Francisco pen show journal, and I wonder where that is. I'm glad I just remembered that. I knew that Paris wasn't my only insert, so now I've got to look for that. 1 second here, because now I'm really wondering where that is. I feel like it's being housed inside of a TN. So normally I store my inserts once they're finished in a storage binder. But I just have so many empty TN covers now. I've slowed down in collecting them, but I still have way more than I need, especially now that I don't have a travel journal. I'm not using the dated inserts. So I have a lot less use for journal covers now, and so I'm starting to use them to house my completed inserts. I still can't find it. Okay, found it. It is in another storage cover. So here, this one's really nice because it's see-through, and I can see the decorated cover that I had made for San Francisco. This is an archive. This one is a accordion is what the word I was looking for. This is also an accordion insert that I decided to do for the San Francisco pen show. Just put that back. Okay. And this one took me a while to finish as well, but I was determined to get this as close to done from the event as possible because this year was a busy year. So here is my cover. I'm really proud of this, looking at this now, having it been completed and stored away for a couple months. I got the idea to use the lanyard from Job's journal. He used it as like a tie closure. I used it here as kind of like a spine look. And I just love how maximized these covers look like, and it honestly just continues into the journal. Again, I have yet to film a completed flip through of this. That is something I need to get better on so that I myself will have these archived digitally, because I really do worry about one day these getting lost or I don't know. I don't know. That's just like, is that an irrational fear for anybody? Like, because you put so much hard work and materials into this and time, and honestly, it's just a really great memory to look back on. So why wouldn't anyone be scared to lose this hard work? Anyways, this is of the San Francisco Pen Show. I was physically there all 3 days, but I couldn't attend the third day because that was the day of my flight. But I thought that the accordion insert was the perfect amount of space to document. You can see that I had a lot of writing. I honestly didn't think that I was going to need so much space, which is why when I decorated, I didn't leave myself as much space. And then I ended up really just wrapping around all of my deco. So I don't know if I'll continue an accordion insert if I go back to the pen show. It is my goal to go to the pen show as often as I can. I loved it so much. So I'm already working on trying to fit the 2025 SF pen show in my budget. But I think it would be really nice to go back to a physical, or, the standard insert. As you can see, I think I have a pattern here of my most recent inserts being accordion. This and Texas. So yeah, I think I want to go back to the standard book stapled insert. But this was a lot of fun to work on. I'd love to know how you guys store your completed TNs. Do you also use the binder system here? Because some of my are too chunky that I can literally only fit 2 in here. And then there are the thinner ones like this where you could fit 5. But it rarely occurs where I can actually fit 5. I think my diary archive binder can fit 5. Let's see. So this is a travel one, and it literally only fits 2 plus the Paris one, so 3. Actually, no, there's 4 in there. Just kidding. This one has 4. This one is so chunky, it only has 3. This one is of dated diaries. So this one can fit 4, maybe even a 5th one if I had a 5th diary to put in there. But now getting to my last 2 here that I worked on in 2025. These are my ongoing current project journals. So this one here is my stationery meetup journal, and then this one is the coffee journal. So let's go through my stationary one first. And here actually starts with my first ever meetup with someone from the journaling community, and that happened in 2023. This is when I met my friend Emily. And a lot of my spreads in here will include Emily because she is just the person who's most local to me. And we plan a lot of cafe journaling meetups together. So my first one of 2024 includes Emily and Stacy. And then I lived in Italy for almost 3 years, and it wasn't until 2024. I lived there from 2022 to 2024. Yes. So it wasn't until end of 2020. This is the wrong date. No, that's the right date. Sorry. Let me start over. I lived in Italy from 2021 to 2024. Yes. So almost 3 years if you account like which specific month. And I had my first Italy journal meetup in Rome in May of 2023. Okay, there you go. So I thought I was going to have more opportunities to meet people in Europe, but it was rarer than I thought, and also crazy that I have built a huge following from Europeans over on my Instagram. It's just that so many Europeans actually do live really far from the major touristy cities. So when my husband and I would travel, we would go to these big cities, and if anybody did reach out to me that they were from that country, they were not ever really near that major travel city. So anyways, I'm still really happy just the fact that I got to meet some journaling friends in Rome. That is always going to be such an amazing memory for me in my stationary journaling world. More spreads with Emily. I met 2 other Instagrammers who are really funny friends, Jats and Knock. And I will have like their Instagram handle at the bottom. But I've gone to some events in 2024. 𝘈𝘮𝘀𝘀 had their birthday celebration. They are a shop in downtown Santa Ana. I had my first kind of like travel and sketch. We went to a museum in LA and just had our notepads, sketch pads. I brought my watercolor palette, and it was really nice to just be very artsy and artistic in the wild. And that was the first time I'd ever really done something like that. And it was really out of my comfort zone, and I enjoyed it a lot. Here is my spread of the San Francisco Pen Show. So I do have some things that are repetitive. So since this is my stationary meetup and events journal, I still wanted to have a spread about the San Francisco Pen Show. But because I also traveled for it, I wanted to have a travel journal for it as well. And so some things are repetitive, but I just don't go into too much detail. How I can keep things separate is that with my stationary meetup, I just focus really on the people that I've met and things like that. Whereas my travel insert, includes like how my flights went, how any transportation went, what we ate during the day, who I was with, and honestly just every single other detail, whereas this is just a lot of the highlights from the pen show. And then I met some more friends in Houston. It's honestly really crazy to me that because of sharing my stationery and journaling hobby online, that I have made so many friends globally. It's really wild for me to understand that I could probably go anywhere in the world and there is someone who I could probably meet up with to have a journaling date with. And that to me is so cool. I have just made some of the best friendships online and through through private messages on Instagram, and it really is such a heartwarming, genuine, and amazing community that I've found, and I've really healed a lot of inner child, I guess, traumas from this hobby. Just finding a community that you feel accepted in, being able to be creative and geek out and be nerdy about certain things. It's really, really healing to be able to do as an adult with other adults. So yeah, that is a really amazing thing, to think that I could probably go anywhere in the world and meet a friend to journal with. So some more events. I went to my first Pelican Hub. I was really, really lucky this year that there was an Orange County Pelican Hub, because usually it's LA that is a lot more firm in their foundation for a Pelican Hub master. Orange County, it seems that every few years it fluctuates. I think somebody signs up to be a hub master for Orange County, and then they realize it's not as easy as it looks. And so the Orange County location really fluctuates throughout the years. So I was lucky that there was a volunteer to be a hub master in Orange County, and I hope that it continues so that I can continue to attend Pelican Hub events. The next event I attended was at 𝘓𝘮𝘀. They had an inked event. They had over 400? Over 400 inks that you could sample and buy. So that was really amazing, and I did indeed buy a lot of inks. I have a whole separate video of that if you're interested in fountain pen inks. And then the last thing here I actually have not been able to write about yet is the event with Travelers Company and their USA road trip. I was able to go to the first location, which was held in Long Beach, and I used the pamphlet here and the info card as kind of these like doors here. And I still need to write about the event. I didn't realize I hadn't written the event about the event yet. And then this next page, I actually photo scanned the sticker set for myself and then used the scan versions to create this, just to have a page without any words and just the stickers there. And then I've actually, since that event in November, have had 2 journaling meetups with Emily, and I just haven't journaled about them. So I'll probably do one day here and another day here, and that's yet another page of Emily. This is like half an Emily stationery journal. But yeah, I really cherish this journal, and have here at the very front a photo of Ijima-san, one of the founders of Travelers Company here, and this photo is from the event. This photo is from one of my first journaling meetups, and this photo here is the first time Emily and I met in person to journal together. So really great photos. Here is a journal stack from one of those larger meetups and some fountain pens. All right, last insert of my show and tell is this coffee one. And I was updating it the other day and realized how close I was to the end, that I looked at when did I even start this. And I started this in the end of 2023 with some coffee shops that we were traveling to. So we had done a trip to Germany, and I always document literally any new coffee shop we visit. If I go to a coffee shop regularly, I will only document if I try a new drink. So these are some of the places that I was able to visit while traveling. And I usually always have my TN in like the photo, because I double it as a memory keeping photo and then as well as an Instagram post. So that's why my TN is usually also next to the coffee. This coffee place, I always think about Coffee Mantra in Florence, Italy. It was the best coffee I ever had in all of Europe, out of all the places that we had traveled to and tried. And then here are some of my first coffee shop pages in 2024. So pretty much from this page on is all from 2024. At one point in here, I changed the aesthetic, and that's something that bothers me a little bit. I don't know what bothers me about it, that maybe it's not consistent or that it's not fluid. I don't know. So here I did a lot of stamps, then it's just the block of text. It's very monochromatic. It's very neutral. And then along the way, I got pregnant and couldn't handle caffeine from coffee anymore. And so I stopped really journaling in this because I wasn't drinking coffee. And then once I got to California, I was drinking a lot of bubble tea. And there isn't a lot of bubble tea where I was in Italy, which is why this kind of just ends with my last trip. The last time I tried a new coffee shop was in Japan. It was actually at the Traveler's Factory. And then that was my last spread until the summer of 2024. So there's about 6 months in between here, this spread and this spread. And when I picked this up, I honestly just opened the page and journaled freely without realizing that I was keeping up with a theme and that I was keeping a certain look to this. Because when I grab this to journal, I'm not like flipping through each page and seeing, I just really quickly grab okay, where's my next blank page? Oh, here it is. Open it and just journal freely. And so I think because there was a 6-month gap in here, I just completely forgot that I was following a look to this journal. And I honestly don't really care that I follow a look. I think it's just, now that it's done, almost done and archived, it's just a little disjointed. But, I got some very friendly comments on Instagram about it, saying it just really showcases this time in my life that I couldn't drink coffee and I couldn't tolerate the caffeine. And it just shows this divide of when I was having coffee and then when I was having tea. And I think that's a much nicer and gentler way to visualize it. So yeah, I had a lot of matcha, bubble tea, and then I realized that I could order decaf. So I started getting coffee again and just getting decaf. I think it was a lot easier to do once we had moved back to California, and you could see just how much this journal has blossomed since moving back to California, because specialty coffee is not a thing in Italy. Everything in Italy is specialty espresso, just plain espresso. So it was nice to really jump back into this insert in a really fun way, because I was having fun coffees again, like white truffle mocha and different bubble teas. This one was really fun. I did a whole flight and I ranked the 8 samples of boba. And as you can see, it's just really colorful and bright now. And I had a lot of fun with it. It's just a little disjointed, but that's okay. Not everything in our hobby is consistent. This is one of the most proudest pages I have in here. This is the last time I ever watercolored, because honestly I feel like I might not ever watercolor this good again. But it took a lot out of me to unlearn the things I thought were right about illustrating. And I have to thank Stacy for telling me to just get out of my head and do it a different way than what I thought was correct. And honestly, it yielded the best illustration I've ever done. And hence why I said I have not illustrated anything ever since, because I just don't feel like I can do anything better than that. But I'm really proud and love this insert. I got to a point where I started putting tea bags in here. The what do you call it? The paper bag. Something I've always done is save my boba cup until I can get home. Or if I don't want to haul around the cup around with me, I will take the label that they kind of heat seal on top and put that into my journal once I've washed and cleaned it. Once I got back to California and was ordering my 𝘓𝘪𝘯 pods for my Nespresso, I then saved the packaging there so I can write some notes about the coffee, because especially the seasonal ones, once it comes around to that time the next year, I forget whether I liked it or not, so I order it again. So I have some notes here for myself. This is probably one of my favorite spreads. I think I'm going to say that a few times in this one, in this journal, but I just love how cohesive it looks. And this is actually 3 separate drink places. So that's really fun. I just love when it kind of falls together and looks really nice like that. This one was another one that I really enjoyed and did. I wanted to try my hand at writing in cursive. I don't like my cursive. I think I just personally need to practice a lot more so that my letters will look consistent. Like, I think my R's and E's look different every time I write the letter R and E. So that is just a thing that I was trying, and then I realized like I don't like it. I don't want to keep writing in cursive, but some things that I tried and experimented in my journals. One thing that I thought was cool was opening the packaging that's around the straw, and it made for really great ephemera for these 2 pages. It just so happened that the coffee I had in the morning and then the boba I had at night had decorated straw sleeves, and so it made a perfect spread for 2 different places. Another fun one is when they decorate or have a logo on their hot sleeve. But yeah, this has been a really fun journal for me, and I'm excited to finish this one because I think I want to go back to passport size. My very first coffee journal is in a passport, and I have a full flip through of it if you are interested. But I don't know, there's just something about a passport size and how small it is, and being able to fill like one whole page for one coffee shop versus here. This is one whole 2-page spread for one coffee shop because I frequent this coffee shop a lot, and so instead of writing about it every single time I visit, I just did one spread and the several different drinks that I had tried there. But a lot of the times I only need like a quarter of the page, and so sometimes it can feel a little disjointed when I have too many different experiences on one page. So I think I am going to go back to passport next time I have a coffee journal. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this show and tell. I really don't know what prompted me to make this kind of video. I just honestly wanted to make a video, wanted to talk about my journals, and show off some of these pages that I haven't shared yet on this platform, or even honestly posted and taken a photo of for Instagram. 2024 was a year that started really strongly on social media and then just tanked middle of the year. And it took a lot to kind of re-navigate that, and I still feel like I'm trying to navigate that because I've added a new baby to the family and just trying to find out where this hobby and extra time to film fits in now that I'm living a completely different life, living in California with family and with an extra child. So I hope that you got something out of this video, if not inspiration. For me, I just get a little bit more creative release and another digital archive. So thank you so much for being here with me on this channel, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.